Hello. Hello and good morning. Good morning. It is so wonderful to see you. How is everyone doing? How is everyone doing? My name is Zoe Baraka. It is so good to see you. Today is Tuesday, March 16th. Oh my good God. We are, what should I say, a quarter of the year done already. My God. Wow. We just want to say thank you to God. It has been an amazing quarter of the year. And I also wanted to say a happy, happy, happy Women's Month. I have incredible women in my life, and I don't know what I would do without these wonderful women. So happy Women's Month to all the amazing women out there. You guys are doing a great job. Once again, my name is Zoe Baraka. We are coming to you live on the Dear Daughter page, and the show is To My Younger Self. This is a show where we tell stories from our past, and take lessons from it if we got any lessons from it that are going to help us propel into the future. Listen, I am not able to see you, so please, please, please go ahead and say hello, hug me, wherever you are in the world. Say good morning virtually, send a comment, let me know you are here with me, okay? All right, I'm gonna jump into the story. Today's story is quite short, so just keep up with me. All right, so bear with me. Let me do a few housekeeping things. Here we go. All right, okay. So yesterday, March 15th, was actually my brother's birthday. I know, I have a brother. I know I hardly ever talk about him, but yes, I do have a brother. Amazing young man. I am very ashamed to say that. Hi, good morning, Beverly. How are you, my dear? It is so good to see you so early in the morning. I'm telling a story about my brother today because it was his birthday yesterday. And I was just saying that I'm a little ashamed to say I don't have a very close relationship with my brother as I would have loved to, or as I would love to. I am trying my very best to correct that. The reason being that I am way, way, way older than he is. And also the fact that I stayed away in school too long. So every time I would come home, it would feel like I was, far removed from him. And so that is entirely a big sister's fault. That's definitely my fault. But as I was praying for him yesterday and thinking about him and just, celebrating with him in his birthday, I thought, I don't really have any stories revolving around my brother as we were growing up. Again, because I wasn't there much, as in physically at home much. But one of the stories that I remember very vividly that happened was, so my dad was traveling a lot. And so we never really had the presence of a male person all the time. But whenever he was home, you knew he was home because you felt the presence really strongly. And my dad had a few rituals that he would do every morning and every evening. One of the pictures that I have in my mind of my dad in the mornings was that when he was awake, then all the chickens in the house were awake. It was almost like he was the Pied Piper of Accra or Domis, wherever we lived. And he would have a little bowl with a lot of corn in it, and he would be spreading it behind him, and the chickens would be following him, clucking at the corns. And another very vivid image I have of my dad in the evenings were when we were getting ready to go to sleep, after everyone had retired and after we had made sure that the doors were locked, the front door, the gate, the back doors, all the windows and everything, he would go back around and check everything again. That was his last minute check. Because he wasn't home a lot, we had learned how to do all of that, but he would do a last minute check. So of course, in the evenings, you would see Dad, he would go to the back door. We had like a huge back door with a trap thing that goes into the like the backyard that had some plant and a pulley tank and all kinds of stuff. He would go there, lock the door, double check it, go to the main gate, make sure that it was really locked, and so on and so forth. And then, of course, check all of the doors in the house, the bedrooms, the living rooms, the kitchens, the storerooms, all of those, and the windows in the bathrooms, everything was locked. That was Dad's routine. So fast forward, my brother was probably, I honestly want to say he was maybe like 4 years old when one day, of course, Dad wasn't home at this time. And we hear someone walking. It was past 10. We were all, in our rooms getting ready to go to bed. Mom had made sure that the doors were locked and everything. Here comes my brother at 4 years old. Now he's checking the doors and making sure everything was locked, And it was so amazing. He must have seen my dad do that maybe 2 or 3 times. And then my dad had to go back to wherever he was, traveling to. And my brother just kind of took over. Now that was his job all of a sudden. Now, nobody told him that's what he was supposed to do. He was only 4 years old. Again, 3 or 4. He was not, nobody sat him down and said, this is what a man does. You're supposed to make sure that all the doors are locked so that the women in the house are protected, because there was a lot of women in the house. No one told him that. He just started doing it. He was checking, making sure the doors were locked. And then one of the things Dad would do when he would come to check on your door to make sure it was locked, he would open it and actually make sure he saw you in the bed, or at least in the room, make sure you were there, you were safe. And then he would, lock the door or, pull it shut and tell you to lock the door behind you. And my brother started to do that. And we were all so amazed. And how we do back home, we started calling him Aqualanyame. Aqualanyame is like child God or godchild, as in this child has too much sense for his own good. We called him that, Aqualanyame. And as I was thinking about my brother just yesterday, I thought, or the lesson that I took from that little thing. Oh, and by the way, the next morning he proceeded to go get some maize or corn in a bowl. Actually, the same bowl that my dad would normally use was like a round little blue bowl. And he started to, put it on the ground. Now, the one thing that my brother forgot to do was to make the sound for the chickens to know it was time for feeding. My dad had a sound that he would do with his mouth, which I, for the life of me, can't pull it off. And then the chickens would know that the feeder was there and they would come out. So, he just littered the ground with the maize or the corn. And eventually, later in the day, of course, they came out and they ate it. But the point was he had seen his father do it. And so he did it. So, of course, one of the lessons that I took from it is that children will always learn from us adults. Whatever we're doing, whether we think they're learning or not, they're learning from us. Now, in recent times in Ghana, there's been a lot of issues about spousal abuse, either from the woman or from the man. It's, been back and forth. Unfortunately, some people have lost their lives in the process of all of this violence, spouse abuse or domestic violence and things like. Good morning, Big Sis. How are you? It is so good to see you. I love you, Big Sis. So, of course, it got me to thinking, could it be that these men grew up seeing their parents or their mothers or their fathers do the same thing, whoever their guardian was, being the way they were with whoever they were married to? It gave me pause for thought. And today's lesson is very, very short. We do what we see our parents do. We do what we see the adults in the community do. My brother certainly proved that with the way that he had just taken of the art or the act of protecting a household just because he saw our father do it just by way of locking doors and checking. And he actually went that step further to open the door and make sure his big sisters, we were way older than he was. I mean, 12 years older than he is. My other sister is 6 years older than he is. And he still thought in that young age at 4, he could, open the door and check on us to make sure we were okay. And then proceed to tell us to, lock the door behind when he closed it shut. So what are you doing that you think your kids are not watching? Certainly, I don't think my father thought, oh, I'm going to go ahead and do this, and then hopefully my son will pick it up. I don't think he set out to do that. That was just his routine. Way before my brother was born, I'm pretty sure way before any of us was born, he was always doing that, even if he lived in a 1-bedroom apartment at the time. So what are adults doing now that we don't know that children are learning from us? Good, bad, ugly, they're getting everything we do. All the energies we're dispersing, everything we do, they are learning from us. Indeed, there's a lot of things we can learn from kids, but as adults, we don't necessarily know to do that. We don't necessarily know to learn from them, but they certainly are imbibing everything, absolutely everything that we learn, that we teach them. So that is today's story. It's in honor of my brother and the fact that he taught me something. And I have to say guiltily that it made me feel good that I had at least shared that little story with him. And I don't know that he would remember this. I have to mention it to him if he would remember this particular story. But out of guilt, I came up with this story. And hopefully it makes me feel a little closer to my brother again. I'm not as close to him as I would wish that I was. And that is the end of today's story. I know it's really, really short, but I hope you got something from it. I hope it helps you. And I hope as an adult, as a parent, as an uncle or an auntie, as a cousin, an older cousin, I hope you are living your life worth emulating, so that the children around you, when they decide that they want to emulate what you're doing or what you're saying, they're not taking something bad out of it, but rather the good. Sis Elsie says, I read a quote years ago and I'll paraphrase here. Your actions are speaking so loudly that I can't hear what you are saying. Yes, yes, yes. That is true. Thank you so much. And Beverly Ross says, very true. Children do what they see and do. That is also very, very true. They actually really do what we see adults do. Here's another little story that now that both Sister Elsie and Beverly have just chimed in, just reminded me. A long time ago, this is a story my dad actually told me. So apparently when, back home when we would have visitors, the adult would go and bring water for the visitors and would say, you're welcome, thank you for coming, sit in the living room and all that. And apparently here is one time where there were visitors. They were family members. So my mom didn't think it was necessary to get them water because I had seen them do it so many times. I got very, very indignant in my little tot person, like, oh my God, my mom didn't give these visitors water. And I went to the kitchen and got a little plastic cup, got water. It wasn't in a glass or, and then put it on a tray like the adults will normally do. I just got in a little cup and then brought it and gave my mom a very dirty look, apparently, like, why did you not give them water? And of course, all the grown-ups bust out laughing and all that. But again, just to reiterate what Elsie and Beverly have said, we as kids, we always learn from what our parents are doing. Casper, good morning. It is so good to see you. Casper, it is so good to see you. Thank you for joining us. So that is the end of my story. I wanted to say a big thank you again to yes. I think I know what you wanted to say. Bless your heart. That's what I'm gonna just finish that sentence for you, sis. Well, this marks the end of the story. Again, like I said, it was very, very short. It was in honor of my brother, and I hope you got something from it. Um, we're still working really, really hard with this vision we have onto my younger self, where we're trying to weave a tapestry of stories all across Africa. And I wanted to say a big thank you to my line producers. Of course, Big Sis Elsie is always here. I thank you. I appreciate you for that. Sedina Mavevo, thank you so much. And of course, Yidana Hamid Kobigbila, thank you so much, you guys. One is in Ghana, one is in the US, and of course, one is in Canada. Thank you. Thank you for working so hard behind the scenes, connecting me with people, having several meetings and chatting and all that. Slowly, it's coming together. Listen, if you know anyone all across Africa, from Algeria all the way down to Zimbabwe, if you know anyone on the continent who has the story to share from their younger self when they were younger, please, 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 do not hesitate to reach us on this platform, on the Dear Daughter platform. And, we'll be happy to host them and let them tell us a story. They could be Francophone, they could be speaking Portuguese. I know there's a lot of African. Yes, everyone is welcome. Okay. Thank you. Beverly says, yes, we must be careful what we say and do around children. That is so true. This is the end of the storytelling time today. I appreciate your time. I thank you for investing in it. And I thank you so much. Beverly, I thank you for showing up and just being a part of the program. Thank you. All right, my name is Baraka. It has been a lovely time, and I will see you next week, hopefully with a guest. Have a wonderful time. Bye-bye.